Guess who's back?
Two P's back.
Back again.
The P's back.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Da-na-na. Your favorites are back.
They missed us.
They really did.
This season is a lineup of amazing Black women in the Dallas community doing powerful, pussy-popping things for your pleasure.
Power. We're talking about power P's from all over the DF dub.
That's right. And last weekend, we got to talk to the baddest,
Oh my gosh.
most beautiful.
The cutest.
She's an angel.
The sweetest. That soul on that one.
We're going to share our conversation with the beautiful, talented, educated
Rah Kalon, the
healer, consciousness coach,
the consciousness curator of a community.
manifestation of magic.
No, seriously, this conversation, I have been waiting to get it out to people. Because
It's my favorite one right now.
It really is.
I'm biased.
But it's fine. So you guys, are y'all ready?
Here she comes, you guys. Enjoy her.
Who the fuck are you?
I am a we, and we are an emotional intelligence consultant, an emotional health coach, a lover of love, your inner child's fairy godparent, and a vessel of love that works with individuals who are ambitious and heart-led to connect you with your greatest good.
Big Purr.
It's Vanessa.
And it's Jasmen.
And we're two peas in a pod. So let's get into it.
Yes.
We don't need a big introduction because we have a whole thing for you. We have a whole thing planned for you. I have debauchery planned. Like, I've decided
We can see it in your face.
I know. I've decided that this
When does she
season-
not have debauchery planned? Let's be real.
To be fair, I do because I'm a Scorpio, but and so I'm always like
She
love
lives in debauchery.
the devil's advocate position.
Okay.
It's part of like my spiritual essence.
Okay.
It's what helps propel me to greatness when I'm trying to facilitate group activities, because I believe in bullying. Like, and not in the negative connotation.
Okay.
Because I also understand even in the negative connotation, bullying plays a role in natural society.
Absolutely.
Because we're like a survival of the fittest. We talk about this crabs in a pot mentality all the time when we talk about prison, right? But it's like some people have a need innately with the way they learn things to be pushed differently. And so I like to go, but what if we saw this the other way? Most often I don't actually believe in the things that I'm saying out loud.
Oh.
So that's
What a special role you play.
Yeah, because then I want to see like where will the conversation go, because I can learn a different perspective as well within the chaos and imagination that I've created.
Well, that's the point about when you get an opportunity to learn more from disagreeing with someone. I think what you offer is a chance for people to be challenged, and you don't have ill intent, even though it can come off mischievous. But I think that
I have no problem with that.
Exactly. I was going to say that looks like something you're very accepting of. So when we recognize that that is a special role of people, a lot of people respond well to challenge. A lot of people who don't know that they respond well to challenge respond well and then have a increased sense of self-esteem and self-confidence when they see that, wow, I was put under pressure and I prevailed. So as long as it's in good intention with no malice, we're here for that conversation. But we also know that socially, yes, bullying does play a major role in survival of the fittest and the primitive nature of man.
Now it's just a whole new thing, but we don't even have to talk about that today. What I want to talk about is you.
Yes.
Let's talk about you.
We've got Rah. We've got Rah. We've got Rah. we've got Rah.
You do. Yeah.
We do.
Yeah,
You like
she's
the theme
here
song?
in the flesh.
Of course.
It is.
She's here in the flesh.
course.
It is. It is.
So-
I'm excited to have you.
Yes, thank you for being here.
2P's space.
Yes.
So how did we get to know Rah Kalon? What was the first time?
Oh, that is such a good question.
It's been a minute.
Was
it
you-
Conscious Conversation?
I think that was the first event we attended, and it might have been the first Conscious Conversations that was.
I think it was.
It was. And it was amazing.
Yes.
Very well organized. That was my takeaway overall, not the emotional part, because that was a lot. It was a lot of shit went down in there.
Yeah.
It was like a lot.
It was good a lot.
But
good a
can
lot.
you describe what kind of a lot? What was
Yeah.
it that made it a lot?
Well, because you, like we just talked about the bullying thing, you're kind of you're a spiritual bully, like in a good way.
Tell
See,
me.
I think we need to like rephrase this word. Maybe we need to choose another one too. But you're a pusher. You push, and you know how to ask profoundly difficult, uncomfortable questions that make people elicit things about themselves that they would rather not talk about, because in order to talk about them they have to reveal them, and then if you reveal them they have to work on them. Do you like that? I just did a fucking Rah Kalon commercial.
Have blessed us immensely.
Like the words, Rah.
You are
She's an
old
English
with
teacher.
the words, baby.
Good with- yeah. Spirit knew where to
Yeah.
put me.
No, but
Use
that is it is such a good way. And I was telling Vanessa too, the way that you have like this confidence in your spiritual self as well is like, it's infectious. And now I'm like, yeah, command me, like command my spirit,
glow
girl.
your power, like it
Yes.
comes out of your face when you're talking.
It's in your tone though.
And then I'm like, because I'm going to be honest with you, because I shared some of your content with other people, and a couple people were like, but is she for real though? And I was like,
Can we
okay.
talk about that?
Yeah,
We have to
because
talk
I'm
about
like,
that.
but the thing is, we met her, like we know her.
She talks
I'm like,
that
that's
talk.
literally who she is. Like,
and she walks the walk.
She don't walk. She floats out on a fucking
Oh my God, fucking
rainbow
facts.
of angels.
That
And then
is
she-
real.
And then she sings to your soul, and then also you get mad.
like
when you're
Aretha
kinda like,
Franklin
wait, hold on,
singing,
fuck you,
too.
Rah, for asking me this shit.
Yes, yes.
I'm not
receptive to that too.
doing this with you. Like, who do you think you are? All up in my head, that type shit. But you're an angel. You're something. You're something. You're something.
Here's something out here. So, Rah, with that something.
Oh, it's time to be British.
yes. Okay. Boho Jasmine turned into British Jasmine. Okay.
Love it.
Boho Jasmine could be from Britain.
I could be from London.
Except when
darling.
our British audience hates you right now. We have people in
I love
England that downloaded
Shout
our
out.
podcast last season.
We
Talk
love
about
y'all.
expansion.
I was talking in my British
yeah,
accent,
British Jasmine.
and I was
Exactly.
asking Miss Rah. So you have Conscious Conversations. Let's talk a little bit about your event. Like, what one inspired you, and two, what would people expect if they came?
So Conscious Conversations was something that was a gift, a download right before the pandemic struck. And we had connected with Victoria Simone, who ran the For the Culture Studios franchise at the time. She's continued to grow and develop since then. But she loved what we offered. She loved the services. She loved the heart of what we do. And so she donated the space. She sponsored the space. And so we were about to start. Tickets were going to be $5 just so that people actually showed it. You know,
Yeah.
people, if it's free, they say
They
they're
don't take it
coming.
seriously.
They don't
Yeah.
take it seriously. We hate that it's that way.
Right.
And it's not always for everyone, but general rule of thumb.
Right.
So tickets are $5, and 2 weeks before, everything shuts down. Everything shuts down. So this brainchild has to be put on pause. And
Everything happens for a reason.
everything happens for a reason. Instead of getting to start a community in person, which is what we've always desired.
Right.
We started the More Than Tribe, which was a virtual community that helped, I'd say, at least upwards of 30 or 40 people intimately through the pandemic.
I love that.
It gave community, it gave consistency, it gave food for thought, it gave fruit for the soul. And we were at it for about 3 years before we actually disbanded last year. And it was just time. You know, we are now more interested in in-person communities, still building virtual communities always.
You have to.
You have to because of this day and age.
right.
But we want to milk our Dallas community and all the different people coming to this melting pot for all that it's worth. now, fast forward to 2022, we had left our 9-to-5 working at a nonprofit of 8 years.
Shout out for that, because that's a big move.
It's a big
power move.
It was a power move.
That's a pussy power move.
It is.
It was a
Big
pussy
purr.
power faith move.
Okay.
It was a trust move. It was a
You can't grow, like you think you can't be in those situations and thrive until you are put into that situation, and then all of a sudden you figure it out. You figure it out. And so I always tell people when they feel like they're in a challenging situation, I'm like, listen, God wouldn't put you there if you wasn't supposed to.
We have
so
receipts
figure it
that
out.
God has always provided.
Always.
Get your
Always.
receipt book out.
Yeah.
And believe in that.
Always.
Because you have the receipts. So why are we still questioning that?
Amen.
because we are primitive
Human.
creatures
We are human.
who are wired to look for threat over opportunity.
Something's wrong with us. If you could choose any animal creature in the universe that we know about, would you pick it to be a human again? I
No.
definitely would not.
I definitely would come back as a human again.
You're an interesting.
Not
human.
immediately, but as soon as we're done with this lifetime, if possible, and none of us are exactly sure how this is going to work.
Right.
We'd like to just sit. What is time, right? So we can't speak in time terms because we know that that's not real. That's not what this is about. We would like the idea, because we are an old soul, to rest a bit. And we know this is coming from an egoic, three-dimensional body place. We're tired. So we would like some time to be, if we are going to incarnate again immediately, into something like, let us be the essence of mountains.
A rock.
Yes. Let us be the essence of mountains. Let us be
Let me
the
just
ocean.
look at that. Oh,
my
yeah.
God,
Let me
I would
just
be
be.
Moss.
You would be Moss.
That would be
Jasmine has a super
I love
special
moss.
connection with moss.
I'll find it wherever
I try
it's
to
at.
like
I'll
pick
find
the
it.
moss.
I love the shades
when-
of green of moss. Yeah.
I love.
Oh my
well,
God.
yeah, I like when the moss.
You
is
should do
purple
it on
and green.
shrooms.
The
You
moss
should
and
see the
mushrooms.
moss
Yeah.
on while you're on the shrooms.
Who says I haven't?
Amen. I love that.
Okay, so you just kind of got into where I wanted to lead the conversation, which is community.
Yes.
It's a word that is going around. It's trending, and we talk a lot
It's a
about it.
vibe.
And we also oftentimes, this is my understanding as of where we are right now, even within the construct of our own communities. We are a part of all these different communities, right? Our community can be our neighborhood, it can be a workplace, it can be a place we organize and nonprofit, it can be all of these things. Communities we create for creative endeavors to also support other creatives, things like that. Emotionally supportive communities.
Absolutely.
There's so many kinds, but I have a theory that we don't do community well, and the world is like not designed for that, especially right now and since the pandemic, right? The pandemic created more fear, which is what it was intended to do. People are less apt and eager to face some of their anxieties about dealing with people in a very personal way. They're socially awkward and strange because, I mean, as someone who's been in schools and classrooms for years, we've trained them into these weird digital cyber robots that don't really actually know how to use the technology that they're on 24/7 in a meaningful way. So they're kind of not, their social cues are strange. So all of these things contribute. And how do we foster relationships with people if we can't interface, right? Which is going to the personal in-person events, right?
Yes.
But then I think really we're kind of all on an island. We want people to support our individual endeavors. So we build in these communities so we get that support, but we're not really doing community in its full essence. Because we kind of tapped in on this conversation a little bit this morning as we were getting prepared, in the sense that people are so focused on what's going on elsewhere all the time that we don't make community connections right here where we're sitting. Like what's going on in your life could be just as devastating as what's going on in other countries that are having issues and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But we're not even talking about like the people that don't even have food down the street or...
Well, isn't that just kind of pointing to how attention is displaced anyways? It's getting further and further removed from our immediate orbit. And I think social media helps with that And it depends on how you use that tool, like you're speaking to. So many people who are attached to their phones and their devices are wiring their brains to be more threat-driven, to be more fear-based, and they
then
don't
also
realize it.
desensitized at the same
And
time.
desensitized.
Which is a weird combination.
It's a very strange combination, and this instinct to keep looking at this because this content that is heavy and heartbreaking.
We're changing our brain chemistry for sure.
We're changing our brain chemistry, and we're also
Traumatizing.
We're traumatizing
We are
ourselves.
and then we know
traumatizing
that trauma
ourselves.
carries in our DNA. So what are we doing to future generations that we're building here before they're even here?
Especially if we're not also going to continue to escalate conversations about it, because these generations are going
Well,
to
'cause you can't
carry
talk
it.
about it, yeah.
You can't talk. We are though, and that's what makes us, unique. Is this is a season where light workers and people who are open-minded are coming together and speaking more. What we do for a living isn't new. It's an
at all.
oversaturated market,
Not
but
at
it
all.
is about the heart behind why you're doing it. Are you ego-driven in communicating this because you do have a gift and you want to feel empowered by your gift? Or are you doing this because it is such a deep passion, a deep well within you that when you get to offer it to other people and see them respond and resonate with it, that's satisfying.
Well, that's where your spirit is activated in the work that you're doing.
Exactly.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
That is what I believe is experiencing God firsthand.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. We know some of the people that make the best birria freaking tacos in town.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we know them. And they are our sponsors this episode. Frida's Tacolandia, the only Frida's Tacos in Dallas.
That's right. The
Period,
one and
poo.
only. Dot.
You might Google, some of you newbies to Dallas, or you might be visiting Dallas and you will Google tacos, best tacos, or Frida's tacos, or even like birria tacos. Frida's Taco Landia. It's the only one, okay?
Period. And it
Period.
is located in the lovely West Dallas, Trinity Grows, as us newbies call it. What do you
It's
hold
La
heads call it?
Bajada is the original name of the neighborhood.
Bam.
And it is on Singleton.
So you guys go, make sure you stop by. I want to know one thing. How the hell do we know them?
So I know, because they've been fucking with us for so long.
For so long.
Okay, so for people who are from Dallas and know good tacos and know the Frida's family, they used to be located at Keystone Polk in Oak Cliff. And that was the first location. And then Frida's Tacolandia 2, which is also their Instagram, opened up. I want to say they've been open for a couple of years now. And then the other location recently closed. So now people that are new here only would know the
new one.
Tacolandia 2 location. Yeah. But we know them because when we used to do book clubs in the city of Dallas before we had our podcast, we were always looking for venues that would offer us a free space. And the first place to offer us free space was a bakery in Oak Cliff called Maroches.
Yes.
Shout out to Manuel, the owner.
OG book club space.
They call him the baker. And he offered us the first free space and introduced us not only to the space, but to his community. And that was Gabriel and Charlie, the owners of Frida's Tacolandia. And they fed us at our first book club Christmas party.
Yes.
We ate their tacos.
Yes.
And we've been eating them ever since.
Guys, they're so damn good, let me tell you. So make sure that you head on over to follow them on Instagram.
At Frida's Tacolandia 2.
So with that, what's your definition of consciousness?
Consciousness is the breath of life. Consciousness is omnipotent, all-knowing, singular source. And it has all these different ways of being able to express itself in multidimensional fashion. And we just are one example And the same way that we talk in our practice about fragmentation and dissociation, where there are different parts of our personality, we believe that as a three-dimensional person, and there are all other types of beings as well, but as a three-dimensional person, we're just one extension, one personality, one example of this source. And so we believe that that is the community we're a part of. In the same way that there are all these cells in our bodies that make up us.
Come on, Osmosis Jones.
Come on, you know?
Oh, I love thinking about
but
that.
then on the flip side to that, devil's advocate,
Come on.
is like you just described that we're all one being, and that like we literally our spiritual consciousness radiates from each other, and like we need each other in order to survive spiritually. But yet we fucking hate each other out here, and we can't even like drive on the roads together.
Absolutely
without
not.
even
I know.
like
But
having
that's
a
part of
shitty
the
interaction.
dance. That's part of the fun, though.
Yeah,
It's just source playing with source.
Yeah, it is.
That's it. But if we take it personally, then we do feel like, wow, the world's a real fucked up place. Or wow, the world's a real beautiful place. The world is
I just take it as a not today
what it
devil.
is.
Listen, I'm always like, when someone zooms past me, I'm like, dang, they're probably late. Because
You know?
listen, I've been that person.
Hope you get there safely. Hope
Right,
you
hope
get
you
there
get there
safely.
safely.
And
I'll
I think,
scoot
I
over
think
it.
zoom in front of me so I can see your foolishness ahead, and
Yeah.
you get good luck to
Yeah.
you, because I'm back here chilling,
Yeah.
probably smoking. Just
Yeah. No, I feel that. So you describe consciousness, now community.
Community for me is like-minded and open-minded, because you might not even know that you're like-minded unless you open your mind.
gotta talk
You
first.
got to talk first. So like-minded and open-minded extensions of consciousness coming together to expand exactly what they are, which is why we think we're here. Consciousness is meant to expand. So we get together as community to ask questions and to become comfortable that there are more questions than there feel like there are answers sometimes, to reassure and affirm each other when that is the case, to share insight, to put to use these experiences we've been through so that it isn't sometimes feeling like it's in vain. Sometimes when you share a story with someone and it blesses them or they can resonate with it, it's like, damn, so I didn't go through that for no fucking reason.
Right.
You know, this
Right.
served somebody.
Amen.
It served you too, but now seeing it reflected in someone else makes you have a greater appreciation.
Yeah.
So that's what community is. Being able to mirror the benefits of what this life experience of expansion has given you by seeing that reflected on other people.
I got that. So I agree that community should also be like-minded and open-minded people, and that we should also want to all work towards one goal. And that's kind of what we were discussing when Vanessa was saying how we kind of expect everybody in the community is an individual, right? It's like,
Yes.
come to my thing and I'm doing this, and
Yes.
then let's come to this. And it's like,
Yeah.
by the end of the day,
poor
exhausted.
and tired. By the
Yeah,
end of the
by the
weekend,
end of
you
it, you're
have
like,
no time for
oh my
self-care.
God.
Yeah.
And that's not community, because community would support the fact that some people have small children that need to be looked after. Some like community would be, I
Us
would
to
like
work
for you
together.
to come support the thing that I'm doing, but like I know you have a thing, so I'm gonna watch your child this week, or I know your child might be needing help with reading, so let me teach them how to read, because I know you're really good at gardening, and we
Yeah.
always have tomatoes
Yeah.
over here. Like we,
Right,
the most
so-
basic levels of like
Interdependency.
we don't even have that. We like order things off of the internet.
It's more codependent.
It's weird.
It's you take care of me.
Yes.
And then once I'm taken care of, I'll take care of you. And then that's how we survive. And it's like, what if we all kind of generated in a way where me taking care of me also benefited you
like
taking
not
care of
survival
you?
mode.
Not survival mode.
Right.
Thriving.
What do we call it? Thrival mode.
Thrival.
that's so wild.
flourishing.
I did not even consider myself in survival mode until somebody last night sat down and was like, no.
Girl, you are been in
Like
survival
you
mode. Yeah.
are in,
You're the
you are like,
definition of
I was
it,
like,
yeah.
wow, okay. But it's wild
But
because
you're a young, single mom.
I was about to say
business.
there's-
Who's businessing?
we all have to be in this survival mode. I'm not the only one. We are all like, and so therefore,
Because you want fancy shit like shelter.
right, we all want fancy shit like shelter
Yeah,
and
food,
food.
water.
And you want vegetables. You're
Yeah.
Right, we want nice vegetables that's
Yeah.
not going to be
Yeah.
cancerous to us down
So
the road.
elite.
Yeah,
God.
like we're bourgeois. What?
I'm so.
So I agree. Like, I feel like community, if we can be conscious, I think we can become conscious. But then again, let me hold that. I don't even think we can be a conscious community until we learn how to be a community. So I think
Facts.
people have to learn what
We have to teach them how. That's
Yes.
but that's
Right.
why Rah
And that's
Kalon
why
is
we're here.
So, Rah, how do you teach people this?
She's doing
That's
it
my
now.
question. Just talk about it? The
think about
conscious
it.
conversations?
Think about it. We didn't even have this podcast when we first attended Conscious Conversations. And there's no mystery that through that event and other conscious conversations that you and I have all the time, because that's what we do, we created this podcast, and now she's sitting right here. So, I mean, that is how you teach people. You have, and I'll say this, and I'm gonna let you answer because this is your question. But I jumped in because I want to say this. I think the true face of community is when you can call people out in a loving way and hold them accountable for the words that they're using against themselves, and they can accept what they heard and not get defensive and own up to that, because then you understand that was out of love, and then you have bonded to that person in a different way that you know they are spiritually looking out for your best interest. And then if you have multiple people doing that in a cyclical fashion, that is community.
It will bring you down to
I don't
earth,
have to
honey.
have any interest the same as you, other than my interest is that you are in your spiritual greatness, and you want me to be that as well.
Damn,
That's
ain't-
it.
Hey, that's weird. Doesn't Bell Hooks call that the definition of love?
Listen,
That's wild.
Come on, some quotes.
That's wild.
I'm not pulling out of the book. We know,
You're not gonna
we know
be
that
quote.
one.
Let's
We
read
know
her a
that
quote.
one. We know that one. So you give your. No, I just gave your answer for you. Look, no,
And I don't think I could have given it better. I really don't think I could
But
have
that
given
was
it
my
better.
experience of attending your event and how that was a conscious community.
Well, when
And we didn't know each other.
We didn't know
one
each other.
A few people in the room knew each other, but overall, most people brought a friend for that. Like, ooh, friend, what are they
Okay,
going to do?
yeah.
Are we ready?
They're gonna make us do
Let's
some
hold
weird shit up in
hands.
here. Yeah.
And we do make you do weird
do,
shit at
you
Conscious
do.
Conversations.
What
But
was
it's
that?
weird shit for your greater good.
Yeah,
We teach you
yeah,
breath work.
yes.
And a lot of people, it's like, oh, we're about to drink the Kool-Aid now. Like, this is some cult stuff. It's not.
Kool-Aid, though.
It's some good
drink the
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
It's
Good
actually
Kool-Aid.
not going to take you out. It's going to take you in.
Yeah.
So we do this breath work at the beginning of
take you
Conscious
in.
Conversation. Yeah, absolutely. That's what this is all about. So that when
Rah
you
Kalon
feel...
LLC.
Come on, Rah Kalon LLC, Rah Kalon Coaching
Trademark.
and Consulting.
Trademark.
Yeah, trademark.
Trademark. Business bosoms.
.com.
That should have been our website, businessbosoms.com.
Who said it couldn't
It's
still
not.
be?
Well, we better not release this before I check
See,
the domain.
you're gonna have to edit this part out.
No one steal it. No one buy it off.
So, how we teach conscious community is creating spaces where people feel comfortable to be uncomfortable. It's very important for people to realize that being uncomfortable is not always meaning that you are unsafe. And that you can be uncomfortable and really be incredibly safe because you are in the presence of your truth that's needing to be looked at, no longer avoided or suppressed, so that once you have embraced it and accepted it, that doesn't mean that it can't still change. It just means that by embracing and accepting it, you can now use choice over it without embracing and
Which
accepting.
is like your only power.
It's your only
choice.
power is choice. But we're so afraid to make the wrong choice that we abandon and neglect ourselves.
That part.
It's like, I don't want to fuck me up, so I'm not going to engage with me. But by
I'll
not
just sit in
engaging,
this toxic warm bath of trauma for the rest of my life and be a
by
victim.
not engaging,
Yeah.
I'm actually doing the worst damage to myself. So in Conscious Conversations, we teach curiosity and being curious over you, and then inviting other people, because we create such a safe environment, an elevated environment, to then invite other people to be curious about you too. But if you're not curious about you, what happens when someone else inquires? You feel defensive.
Defensive, yeah.
So you have to be
Scary.
curious at first. And that's why that first one, everybody did bring a friend. It's like, I don't know what they're going to ask
Because
of
we
me.
were curious.
You
Yeah.
were curious.
So speak to that curiosity, because you have a vivid imagination. It's part of your
Absolutely.
whole persona.
Absolutely.
So how is that curiosity fostered for you as a child? And because because I always talk about how we don't inspire imagination in children, and everybody knows that I'm against school, even though I'm a teacher, because it's like the opposite
not
of
community.
what's best for children's spirit. Yeah, especially Black children. So, and everyone knows that here, especially in Dallas.
Yes.
Yes. I think that like there's something though in those of us that have had that part of ourselves nurtured. So what was it for you that, if you can recall, that sparked that, or helped elevate that curiosity in you? Because everything you put out has an element of play and imagination and trying to get people to go beyond their boundaries, but in a fun way. So I'm a little bit more mean with it, but and again,
We serve our role.
Scorpio.
Double Libra. What is it? Rising Sagittarius.
I'm a double Leo, y'all.
I know, we know. Bitch, we know. The world knows.
It's giving. No, I'm just kidding.
So
Big purr.
big purr energy. So the curiosity and how that was sparked within me. Hands down, having had two parents who homeschooled me. I was homeschooled until...
She's the awkward kid.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I love that.
And this is why we love our
you tell?
story. Yeah, can't you tell? I'm so awkward. Look at me. I love this. So, and the sweetest thing is still being connected to that little girl who was so awkward and taking her with me to things like this where we're like, sit on the couch, baby. Let's show you. You don't stay that way.
Yes.
But this is a very important season. It's like, being able to take her everywhere and be like, this is what you entrusting me and entrusting this process grew up into. And I know that there is some, 2 decades later version of me standing over my shoulder right now, like, and this is where we got to this place from. So all of us are here together. And this is why you notice a we and an I being used interchangeably here. It's all happening now.
Listen, people don't understand. I'm always like, well, we are.
They think I'm talking about Jasmine and I when I say we. I'm not. I'm talking about me.
Right.
Yes.
But what's crazy is I'm opposite as you. That little girl, she was like way more confident than I am. She was way more spunky. So she's like, no, you're going to sit on that couch and you're going to show them who we are.
Yeah.
So it's opposite.
She does it. She does it in a cheer though.
Yeah, I probably
She's
have
probably like
pom-poms.
ready.
Yeah.
She's probably like ready, Jasmine.
Okay. Let's go.
I feel like that is a lot of what connects the strong friend right there is that bringing the former self with, because that definitely, as you're talking, that's what I say all the time is why I work with teenagers, because my 15-year-old Vanessa is always with me. Yeah. She still tries to make decisions and it's fun because I get to be like, girl, bye. We are not going to punch that lady in the throat. Why would we do that?
Facts.
Absolutely. Like,
that was 20-year-old me.
Lady at Petco. We're not going to do it. I get that. But I wonder about that. Like with people who have that sort of like ability to facilitate others and pull things out of other people. It's because you're so confident with that self. And I think a lot of people want to forget about those parts of themselves. But it's like, why? Because that's when we were our most badass self, because we had no boundaries or understanding of consequence. We did super dumb shit like race our bicycles off roofs of houses.
We were not afraid to test the bounds.
You weren't afraid to test the bounds.
It mattered. We could not die.
Or like the judgment that you were going to get. Either you were just like, I'm going to do this.
We went out the house looking crazy. Like kids picking their own clothes. I'm so about that. Like let them wear whatever they choose. Like,
I'm so terrible, y'all. I tell Michael all the time,
I know.
I'm like, go back. You don't match.
And he comes out in the best shit though.
Yeah, he'll come back and be like, all right, mom's here. So let me just
but
swag
my
on shit.
choices
you
are
go
kind
pick
of
your
wild,
best
and I'm
shit.
here for it. I mean, every time I come over here, he has to put on his Boys in the Hood movie T-shirt.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, why is that for me though?
Yeah.
because
Like,
she always wears the graphic tees from Pac.
Okay,
that's
he's
why.
into mine.
Okay.
Oh, he's trying to match
And
my
it's
fit.
similar. Yeah, it's
He's
similar.
like,
to
this
those
is
Pac
what's
shirts.
gonna, make you feel at home.
I'm the cool auntie.
Yeah,
There you
he's
go.
like when he saw that shirt, he goes, "Does Vanessa have this shirt?"
I like that.
And I was
love
like,
it.
I don't know, she probably does.
I love that 6-year-olds are at TJ Maxx wanting to dress like me.
Yes. Does Vanessa have this fit?
This is an illusion, what you see today.
He's like,
This never-
can
tropical illusion.
we be Twinkies? I love that for him. He's so special. Love that kid.
My God, I love mangoes. And you know what? I love just as much as mangoes.
I love mango margs.
Same. And do you know who has the best mother trucking mango marg in the DFW?
Hell yeah, Fritos Tacolandia.
Yes. Oh my God.
The best in town.
Listen, you guys.
I'm not even, and I don't even drink. Can I just say I'm not like even a big drinker. They got a punch. They got a flavor.
The mango is mangoing.
By the way, they're homemade, handmade every day.
By those pretty little
They're
hands
fresh
over there.
mangoes,
I
yeah.
love that. Ooh. Oh my God. Fresh mangoes.
If you guys head over to our Instagram at 2ps_pod or our YouTube, same thing, and check it out. We did a little something there.
We did a lot of somethings there, honey. And those somethings were something like a mukbang.
We did a mini mukbang.
It was a mini thing. And
It was like a baby mukbang.
it was mucking.
It was banging.
It was mucking and
And it was mango margaritan.
Hey, listen, we got greeted with freaking burrito tacos, mango margs, and let's just say when we walked out, Vanessa had all of them on her clothes.
Let's say they were on my hat. My actual hat got
did.
consomme on it. So if that doesn't tell you how good those tacos are, baby.
Bitch, they were smashing. So, listen, where can they find these burrito tacos at again?
At Frida's Tacolandia 2 on Instagram. They are on Singleton in what you're going to call Trinity Groves, Dallas, West Dallas. And go check them out.
La Bajara.
But anyway,
So back to community, right?
right?
No, okay, but you said something else that made me think of a follow-up question when
We were
you
talking about curiosity.
Yeah, you said something about being making people uncomfortable, right? Okay, but here's the thing: do you like it when it's done to you? Because I always wonder that. Because I definitely don't. I've just learned how, as I've gotten better at self-reflection, like accepting it.
Yes.
But I definitely still want to get defensive.
Yes.
So I wonder, like, do you accept it, or are you more like, let me pull it out of you, but
Depends.
please don't pull it out of me?
It depends who it's coming from.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
It depends who it's coming from. Absolutely. Still
Tell
have
us.
all of the nature of being able to
human.
get defensive but like you're speaking to, because of being aware of when a feeling and an emotion is coming on, the sensations in my body or the fragment or the inner child I'll start to move into, I know their responses to certain things. So if someone makes me feel in a way where I feel unintelligent, or if I feel doubted, or if I feel underestimated, I will start to hear my ego. I will start to hear my protective fragments, different parts of myself, try to calculate, how do we make sure they don't try this again?
Okay.
Let's not do this again. But then we start to challenge that. And it's like, okay, what about this has ruffled your feathers? And as soon as we're able to move into that mode, we stay in a perch of observance and not taking it personal, but still being able to take out the nuggets, even if they're coming with ill intent, even if they're coming to be disrespectful. There might be some truth in what they're saying that if I'm willing to listen, I can still correct you in how you're speaking to me and take the wisdom from what you said.
Facts.
So
Raw, like you just confirmed. So I needed to hear that. I love that because I think it's so true that yes, you need to be conscious in your relationships, but there is a point of being able to notice your emotions, right?
Yes.
And then learning, okay, exactly like you said, why is this ruffling my feathers? It's okay, because I have to remind myself all the time, Jasmine, you are human. Grant yourself grace. We're also young.
Yes.
So you are learning how to control all of this.
Yes.
And learning how to become aware. So you have to, it's totally fine to let that ego show and then to come back and be
Regroup.
like,
Yes.
yeah, come back, reflect,
Yes.
reflect. And then I'm the person that I'll come to you and be like, you know what? Actually. So my bad. That
but
was
you're
ego.
Leo.
Yeah.
That's so Leo.
But I'm going to change. Like, I'm going to fix this and work on this. This is why this emotion stemmed from here.
Lions
and
got to roar at you first, and then they come back all cute and
yeah,
shit.
cuddly.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay.
And that I was gonna say, I respond to that And that's what I try to help people work through.
Gotcha.
Because sometimes if you roar first and come back, depending on who you roared at, they won't be there to come back to.
Right.
That's me.
That's why
That's me.
That's why we want to help people
Check yourself
understand
before you fucking wreck yourself.
how can you self-soothe in the moment to then figure out what you actually mean. And then that way, if they don't like it, you said what you actually meant, not what your ego tried to protect you by saying.
So how do I self-soothe in the moment?
In the moment, it really is not feeling rushed to have to respond. Our hormones and the chemistry that happens when we feel defensive and threatened urges us to make a split decision because we feel in danger. You should say less. And you should really feel more. And if you need to get yourself out of the situation, excuse yourself. It's like, you know what? I forgot I had someplace to be. And we'll finish this conversation later. I'll circle back to you. I actually have things that I want to share with you. I'm just not going to share them right now.
No, right.
And they don't need to know all of what's going on in you. That's between you and you.
You give away so much of your power in the moment when
And your
you
energy.
act on that anger.
Absolutely.
But you just gave the answer. Like, okay, so this is your recipe. I just put it together.
Put it out
So
there.
it's
Raw recipe.
It's raw recipe to Rah Kalon greatness. Here's what you do. You have to be conscious of your reactions.
Absolutely.
And check your youthful self. Then you have to then you have to choose to not respond. But then it's not, you didn't
Or
win.
choose how you respond in that moment.
You didn't win yet though, because you have to then reflect on
Yes.
why it triggered you. And then after you do that, you can then respond in a way that is beneficial to not only your youthful self, but yourself going forward
Yes.
in all your interactions.
So
Absolutely.
instead of a Drake act now, cry later.
Yeah.
bar,
Yes.
it is more of a feel now, act later.
Feel
Yes.
now, respond later.
Yes.
And really, I think we have to, as people, get away from being afraid that we seem like we don't have an answer right then. I'm okay if you know that I don't have an answer for you. Like, if you say something to me and it's out of pocket, my energy will shift, so you'll know you fucked up. But I'll be like, you know what? This is a conversation
Pause.
better had like tomorrow morning. So I'm going to circle back to you. I know I heard everything you said, and I appreciate you putting it out there. I'm going to respond to you tomorrow just so that we can have a fruitful conversation.
People need to hear this because I think that's like big. People need to hear what you're saying because we are taught to respond so quickly and everything is so instantaneous in our society that we feel entitled from people to get their response when we want it.
Yes.
And I think us being able to say, man, it's okay to not even trust your own response. Because I think I hear a lot of practitioners say this, and this rubs me wrong. They say we're too in our emotions and feelings, and we don't lead with our mind. We lead with our emotions in those situations, in our defensive or whatever we get, which is true. But we also have to feel the feelings.
Absolutely.
It's okay to be pissed off because you made me defensive of what you said. That's not even about you. It's about me. But now if I don't respond to you, I can choose to not ruin a relationship potentially, go home, be like, why the fuck did that bother me? Oh shit, that's about me. Now let me do my shit. Now I can call you and be like, hey girl, let's go to lunch. Let's talk about what you said. I'm going to tell you why it triggered me. And then we're probably going to have a conscious conversation that will benefit the both of us.
And then we're both gonna move differently the next time around. And this thing might not trigger me.
Did I?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
This thing might not trigger me again in the future. And I think that's so
That's
huge.
the goal, right?
Yes.
But it's
we
also
learn from how we deal with folks.
you also have to be comfortable, right? You have to feel safe enough to be able to do that.
You have to feel twofold. You have to feel safe enough with the other person, but before you can even imagine being able to tell if you're safe enough with the other person, you have to feel safe enough with yourself.
Ooh.
So think about how we'll stand up for someone else. You have to know that when you feel triggered, there's a part of you that will say, we're not going to further traumatize you right now. We're going to take this elsewhere where we can process it safely. If we speak out of a triggered place, you might repeat things that you have a choice right now not to repeat. So you have to trust yourself to intervene, to say, hey, we're not going to talk to her like that. All right. We're also not going to respond because we don't fully know what all we need to say to stand behind it. We're going to say parts of it, fragmented parts, angry parts, lower vibrational parts. But if you're going to break up this relationship or end this friendship over what I'm about to say, I want to make sure I fully fucking mean everything. I want a cohesive answer from my heart and my brain cohesion.
As to why this
I need that. So that way, when you decide to turn away from me, I respect it. Okay. I said what I meant. You didn't like it. Okay. But if I didn't say what I meant, and this relationship is over because I barked and bit before I listened, before I processed, then now I have a lot of guilt and I have a lot of shame, and now there's extra work for me to process. So it would just benefit both of us if I saved my words.
Asshole, and I have to but I do think that's part of the self-awareness journey for folks, is when you start feeling like an asshole after certain interactions that you would normally have had. That's yourself telling you like you are an asshole, and
Yo, you know
need to counter correct. This shit.
Yo,
And,
I be laughing at myself.
I
be like,
we don't
damn.
do that inner voice with self, and I think that's the importance of the we.
Yes.
Because it definitely makes you hold yourself accountable. Like, how many people do you think are out there that will jump to someone else's defense before their own?
Yes.
That's a problem.
Yes.
And it's that will go hard for each other, but like when it comes to you dealing with your own self and your own demons or whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want. Shadows,
you don't defend yourself.
Fragments.
Yeah. Past traumas, generational curses, all the things you learned growing up.
Yeah.
Then you don't want to like have that same dialogue. You don't want to jump to your own defense and be like, no, don't be hard on yourself, Jasmen. I'll be your universe. I'll be like, Jasmen, don't be hard on yourself.
She is most of the time my Dory consciousness.
Yes. Come on,
Are
Dory
you my consciousness?
You're doing
Remember?
everything you're supposed to be doing.
But I think that that's an important part of, like, when it comes to my definition of consciousness, I always tell people, like, you have a higher self and you have your earthly self, right? Your ego. So
you call it your earth self.
Yeah, my earth self. And because I'm conditioned by all these earthly things, so that's my earth self. So conscious me will sit back and be like,
Boho
girl.
Jasmen,
Boho Jasmen is like, honey, love. Okay, grace.
Enjoy the journey.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then earthly me is like, no, like it's the pain body,
Yes,
right?
It's the pain body.
So it's this thing of you have to, I think you need to talk to yourself. We need to you need to talk to yourself. You have to laugh at that earth self. You have to have those inner conversations because
and
it's
be like,
gonna be
bitch,
you.
you're a lie. I am good enough.
Yes.
Who are you?
Yes.
Whoever made you feel that, I am so sorry for you.
Yes.
I am so sorry. Let me help you heal, because look at me.
Yes.
Look at who I became.
Yes. Ooh, I love that conversation in the mirror when you've had just like a moment of slip in that confidence, and then you come back in the mirror and you're like,
stop.
you know who the fuck you are.
Like, you played.
Why are you
was
playing
playing
with
in our
yourself?
face. Come on.
Look at you.
Come on.
Yes. Yes. But that's awesome.
So the recipe is subscribe to RahKalon.com.
Basically.
That's it.
Join all of our virtual communities,
That's all you gotta
participate
do.
in all our in-person events, work with us individually, have your job, bring us on so that we can coach your entire company, those things.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Your
Wouldn't that
business
be-
is business?
We are
Listen,
business. Yeah.
I would love for my company to come in and be like, so today we are going to have...
Do they need some raw over there?
We need some raw,
You better
okay?
get on it.
Yeah. And what it would sound like is today we're going to have an emotional intelligent consultant come in and help us understand how to people
Come on,
better.
EQ. Yes.
It's all about the EQ. When we're in professional
Emotional
development,
intelligence.
emotional intelligence. When we're working on personal development, we focus on emotional health.
Yes.
And both overlap, but this is how we target.
I love that. And this is... So basically, having conscious conversations can create a conscious community.
Bro, having conscious conversations can cure cancer.
I believe. Listen, no.
In its own way.
In its own
In
way.
its own
Literally, Rah, you could cure cancer. You could help strengthen family productivity, people's ability. Because really, all it is about teaching you to love yourself the most and hold yourself in such high esteem that you want the best for yourself.
That you want the best for yourself.
That's hard, though. That's hard for the traumatized child and people to go, oh, wait, I deserve the best. Oh, yeah.
And not only that, but that this older version of me, which is re-traumatizing me with my adult-child relationship, is now paying attention to me. Because as an adult, when we ignore our inner child, we're just re-exposing that part of ourselves to an absent adult again. We're exposing that part of ourselves to someone else who doesn't want to hear our ideas or learn about what we imagined today or dreamed about last night. And so when we talk about abandonment, the greatest abandonment that has ever happened is us towards ourselves. It's definitely instigated by parent wounds, mama wounds, daddy wounds, but then we further perpetuate that. And that's the lie that we have to unveil.
But then, like, this would be a whole nother podcast. Well, she's got to come back because I think we need to talk about like those traumas and that how what that does to us for the rest of our life when we become our trauma.
Yes.
Because I have this thing about everyone wears their fucking labels. It drives me crazy.
Oh my God, yes.
Even to the little stuff like, oh, we have ADHD, so that describes something about us. And it's like, that's very dangerous.
Yes.
We label children in school so young that they become their labels.
Yes.
And then the thing is, we're not our learning disorders.
No.
We're not our emotional issues. We're not our social issues. We're not even our like brain chemistry disorders at all. We're not our addictions. None of those
We're
things.
not these bodies.
At all.
Listen, that's being identified with a thought, with an idea, is it not? Because at the end of the day, that's what all of this is. And it's like, don't be identified with that stuff. You
So
have
what?
to.
You have some stuff you're dealing with.
With-
You're a human.
we all
And
do.
this is a part of this avatar, this time.
amen.
And what can you do to
help.
flourish with these specific things?
Yeah.
These things are there in this three-dimensional, situation.
Well, and also in all of us, because I feel like it's a thing where
Yes.
those things become, kids have learned to make them an excuse. Like, oh, I can't do that because I have anxiety. Well, humans have anxiety. And whether it's a disorder.
Society
that's
makes you have
diagnosed is
anxiety.
another question. I
Yeah.
mean, like.
But I have to speak to, because we all, as humans, are all going through the same thing, but we have different levels
Of what
when
we
it
can
comes to
tolerate,
chemistry, brain wiring, hormones. So someone with ADHD, their brain is wired differently. We talk about neurodivergent people versus neurotypical people. We're wired differently, but at our core, that singular thing, you ask, what's consciousness? We are all one. So what you've been given as your cards or as these amenities to the avatar this time around might look different than the amenities I was given. I might look like I was dealt better cards than you. And in this dance of life and death, we get to play out this role. So what are you going to play with the cards you were dealt? That really is what it is. You can be a Debbie Downer. And I'm not trying to belittle how people have been dealt some fucked up cards.
they have.
They have been dealt
For
some
sure.
fucked up cards, odds stacked
For
against
sure.
them.
Yeah.
Yet, if you were given those cards, what do you want to do with what you've been given?
Well, and also if we come together in community and have these conversations to build these relationships, we know each other as sentient beings, not as our labels.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who's neurodivergent in the group, who's this. We know who Rah is, and we know who Jasmen is, and we know who Vanessa is. And so it's more about understanding the nuances of us as individuals.
Absolutely.
And then those labels don't matter.
They don't.
So
and
it's
we
like-
work with them instead of against
Exactly.
them.
We just accept that these are things we deal with. And how do we be a better version of ourselves in spite of
In spite
these
and
things?
because of.
Yes. So basically, with these cards, we need to play Go Fish.
Girl,
you need to collect your likeness cards and lay them down, honey.
Come on. Come on, Boho
down.
Jasmine. Collect your cards and lay them down.
You
Lay
know?
them down.
Yes. That was beautiful.
I love that.
That was beautiful.
I love that.
Thanks.
So where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn under Rah Kalon. And you can also visit my website, rahkalon.com. We have some upcoming retreats that if you are interested in being able to deep dive into your self-awareness, into your self-advocacy over self-sabotage, you're definitely going to want to sign up so that we can keep you in the loop of what's going on. And definitely turn on your notifications for our content. If you identify as a strong friend, you want to be able to access the language we're offering.
This is 2 Peas in a Pod. If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe and follow us on every platform at 2PS_pod.
And make sure you go on over to YouTube and check out the video from this season.
The literature we discussed in this episode can be found at the link in our bio.
At our Instagram, which is at 2PS_pod. Two Peas in a Pod is hosted by J. Nicole and B. Diggity Dog.
Audio editing and sound design by Derek B.
Music by Imperial Soul.
Thanks for listening, y'all.